NHL Playoffs are on right now, and as of this recording, last night we had 5 Canadian cities participating in the playoffs. So what does it mean for the cities that are hosting these playoffs? We have some consumer spending data for at least the first week of the playoffs, and here to talk about it is our resident expert on both data and sports, a VP Business Development at Moneris Data Services, Sean McCormick. Thank you, Sean, for joining me today.
My pleasure. I always like digging into the memory bank to talk sports, brother.
So let's talk about sports and let's see what the numbers show, at least for that first week of playoffs. Who were the big winners for these playoffs?
Well, I mean, as we've seen in past years, the big winners are bars and restaurants, in and around the arena. And as we get deeper into the playoffs, that tends to spread citywide. We had the Battle of Ontario for the first time in 20 years, the week of April 20th. So that was a home game for the Leafs and an away game for the Senators. And what we saw in Toronto near the arena, we saw a 5% lift in restaurant spend in game one, a 6% lift in restaurant spend in game two. And then the Senators, who are the visiting team, well, they had their fans, going crazy a few hundred kilometers away. And what we saw with them was a citywide increase in Ottawa in game one of 12%. Double-digit increase it's remarkable in spending, just in terms of what does that mean to the merchant and the impact. So we saw a 12% increase in restaurant spend citywide in game one. In game two in Ottawa, again, a road game, the Senators are playing in Toronto, a 14% increase citywide. So the Battle of Ontario, definitely alive and well, not just in the home team's vicinity, but also Senators fans going crazy cheering on their team when they were on the road.
I mentioned before, in Toronto is a city with many options for entertainment. I mean, we have the Raptors, the Blue Jays, the Leafs. Metallica was just in town for a concert.
Yes, they were, Al.
Big concert. So it would explain a little bit about how maybe it's not a huge increase. Also, Leaf fans like me, we're kind of taking a wait until next round approach, whereas Ottawa's in the playoffs for the first time since 2016, 2017. So it's a pretty big deal there.
Yeah, a massive deal. And what we've seen over the last few years is the teams like Edmonton that have been in the playoffs each and every year, there's a bit of a ramp up. Fans definitely get jacked for the first round and the second round, but it can take some time as the fans they're excited the first couple of games, but they really start hitting it hard in round 3 and round 4. To the Oilers specifically, restaurants had a pretty good night in Edmonton. Both of the first 2 games, the Oilers are playing the Kings on the road in LA. In game 1, remember the Oilers have the Moss Pit, they call it, right? That's their version of the ice district. And in and around the arena, which includes the Moss Pit, so you've got a couple thousand people down there partying outside, watching the game on the Jumbotron. Game 1, near the arena, restaurant increase, 25%. And in game 2, near the arena, restaurant increase, 22%.
That's crazy.
So enormous bumps there from all of those Oilers fans coming downtown to gather outside the arena.
And those are for away games.
Those are for away games. Yeah. And even citywide, Edmonton still had some decent positive lift, 3% in game 1 and 5% in game 2. Again, both road games.
Mm-hmm. And one other stop that saw a pretty good lift there would have been Winnipeg and the Jets.
Yeah, so the Jets, and now remember, that's a team that they won the President's Trophy this year. That's a very good hockey team. High expectations of that team, not just NHL-wide, but as well in the city of Winnipeg. So their first 2 games at home against St. Louis, near the arena in game 1, an 11% lift in restaurant spend, and game 2, also at home, was a 4% lift in restaurant spend. Of note, game 2 in particular saw a significant increase citywide of 13%. So 13% lift in restaurant spend for the day of game 2.
That's interesting. So as I said, as of this recording tonight, we're going to see there's a few series that could potentially end tonight. For example, your beloved Oilers are up 3-2 against the Kings. What's your prediction for tonight? So I have it on record.
Oh, they're an exciting team, Al. They've run the Kings out of the rink the last 2 games. We've been waiting for that lineup to gel. They are gelling. How good is Evander Kane, man? He's in mid-season form, and he's 5 games into his season. Calvin Pickard, he looks like Kelly Rudy between the pipes. No offense to Kelly Rudy. He was a good goalie, but he sure was not conventional. But Calvin Pickard stopping the puck for the Oil, and the team's up to their old tricks, right? McDavid and Draisaitl, 20 points in the first 4 games, and they had a couple of more in the 5th game. And then they're getting depth scoring throughout the lineup. So I think the Oilers will shut it down.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope they do. I hope the Leafs can finally, get that monkey off their back too and end it tonight. But we'll see anyway. Thank you so much, Sean, for your time today.
All right, brother.